Hey there, Sagittarius. This is your Ascendant forecast for the week ahead, going from Monday the 15th to Sunday the 21st of December 2025. Now, this is a week of all change and progression. We've got Mars going into the sign of Capricorn. We've got the new moon in Sagittarius, your own sign, in a conjunction with the Galactic Centre, which is basically it's aligned to the center of our galaxy. And then finally, we've got the sun going into the sign of Capricorn, which marks the December solstice. If you're in the northern hemisphere, that means you're going into winter. If you're in the southern hemisphere, that means you're going into summer. Meanwhile, during all of these things happening, we've also got 4 exact squares between planets and also an exact T-square between Mercury and the nodes. What this is also implying is that there's some pressures, most likely internal pressures we're putting ourselves under. And I think it's about to bring out the very best in us. So if you're curious to know more, keep listening. If you're new to this channel, my name's Louisa. Welcome to Feel Good Astrology. Hope you like it. And what I'm going to do is just pace you through all of these different occurrences so that you can use this planetary weather to your best advantage. I'm going to bring up my slides. And as ever, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that supports this channel, because without you, it wouldn't be possible. So these are my 2 charts. This is the first one for Monday the 15th at midnight. These are all set for the London time zone, because that's the midpoint. Greenwich Mean Time, it's the midpoint between all the different time zones. Also, I actually live and work in Portugal in the London time zone, so it makes sense for me as well. I'm using a Western tropical model. What that means is I'm assuming that each house, and each of these sections is known as a house, each house has one whole sign within it. Now, when you look at your birth chart, which I'm sure you do if you're looking at this channel, if you see that you've got Sagittarius and also the symbol for Capricorn in your first house, then it's worthwhile also listening to the Capricorn forecast, because it will give you so much more information that will be also relevant to you. Anyway, as you can see at the start, we've got Mercury, Venus, the Sun and Mars just in Sagittarius. And by the end of the week, you'll see that Mars and the Sun are now into Capricorn, and also that the Moon has gone from the end of Libra and is almost at the end of Capricorn. So let's sort of unpack this now. So I've listed all the things that I think are the most important, and you'll see here between the 20th and the 21st is a lot going on. I would actually venture and say from the 19th to the 21st is really important, because there's a few different things, and I think this is like a portal. In fact, if you're interested in what the Galactic Centre means, and that's what my GC is, the new moon in Sagittarius conjunct the Galactic Centre. If you're interested in sort of galactic messages or anything outside or unusual in our solar system, then you might be interested to know that 3i Atlas, which lots of people have been tracking, is actually going to be closest to Earth on the 19th of December. Now, whatever it's representing, and I'm not here to speculate on that, but whatever it's representing is really part of the picture. You know, it's coming into closer view around the time of the new moon in Sagittarius, which just so happens to be lined up to the center of our galaxy, and it's also right before the the solstice. So to me, it feels like there's this opening of consciousness. Anyway, I talk about that in a lot more detail with Tressa Grealish from I don't know if you know the channel Goddess Inspire. If you want to know about galactic astrology, I absolutely recommend you go and have a look at her channel, because she talks really openly about galactic astrology, and I think she's someone to watch out for sure. And I will be posting our conversation at some point in this week ahead. So if you're not subscribed and you want to see it, hit the notification button as well as subscribing, and then you'll know when it launches. But anyway, let's examine this. So you can see right from where I go, there's a little bit at the start, but it's all really happening the weekend before Christmas. So it's an interesting time. Anyway, we start this with the moon going into the sign of Scorpio. That's into your 12th house, and this is usually a time when we're feeling quite tired. a little bit reticent. We're not wanting to be too active. And it just so happens that at this moment in time, the moon is really coming into a conjunction with the sun. It's right in the tail end of the waning moon phase. And so this is a natural time when things are slowing right down, when we don't have as much energy, where we really just want to rest and reflect. And we need to go within to get the absolute most of our resources. So this is a time of absolutely going within to find our answers. So the first 2 days, first 2 days from the 15th to 17th, that's Wednesday. This is a time to go within, to really watch your intuition, really listen, ask yourself big open questions to see where they lead. Now, also, Mars is going into the sign of Capricorn. Now, anything that's going through Sagittarius is going to get kind of made bigger, more expansive. It turns into a quest for truth and reason, and like to understand things at a much deeper level. And it's very enthusiastic, it's very up kind of energy. And so often we create lots of dreams and ideas, and it's very, very bubbly. When that energy comes into the sign of Capricorn, all of those bubbles of energy, those excitement things, they can, if you want to take them with you, you can start to build on them, which is a real sort of energy of Capricorn. And Mars going into the sign of Capricorn is super exciting. He hasn't been there for a long time. He's got a 23. It takes him 23 months to go around the zodiac. So it's been a while since he's been here, but he's really going in here to activate on all the wishes and ideas and things like that you've been creating for yourself very recently. So, not only are you going into your imagination and slowing down, but you're also preparing the step-by-step process of moving forwards on all those things of interest to you that you've been saving and waiting to take action on. So I think that's a great way to start the week. On the 17th, which is Wednesday, we've got the first of our exact squares, and that's the sun going from your first house. So this is talking about your personal way of shining. That sense of how you shine, how you show up, how you glow and radiate out. This is about your personality. I mean, this is really identifying with your personality. And then Saturn in the fourth house is interesting because Saturn can often represent parents, especially in the fourth house, but it's representing where you might feel a bit tight at home. Maybe resources are tight, maybe your energy is tight, maybe you don't feel full of vitality, or maybe there is something at home that is requiring you to be a lot more serious, a lot more results and, driven. Maybe there's a parent at home or the voice of your inner parent chiding you. But to me, it feels like there's this situation where you don't feel very comfortable to shine and express yourself, and that you've got to keep a bit of yourself under wraps a little bit. That's how it feels. So it's worth still considering it. What I would say is whatever occurs to you, it's important not to go into it at the moment, because we're coming up to this new moon in Sagittarius. It's very, very cosmic. This new moon could really put you on a path to really change things in a dramatic way. And really to move forwards. So I would say if you recognize you're feeling a bit tight and that you can't fully express yourself, if you're feeling like you're a bit too much and, it's not safe for you to express yourself, then I think it's good to observe that and account for that. Around the time of the new moon, you might come up with an intention for yourself, such as, I am safe to be myself. It's brilliant to be me. I appreciate my authentic and bright ways, whatever it is, but don't let any of these discomforts go to waste. Turn them into something that's going to be focused on release and relief around the time of the new moon. Now, also the moon's going to come into the first house straight after that. And when the moon comes into the first house, we can sometimes think it's all about us, which from all of our unique perspectives, I think it is. And we often feel a bit more emotional when the moon is in our first house. We really wear our heart on our sleeve a lot more. And then on Thursday, the 18th, Venus comes from a trine in Sagittarius to Chiron in the fifth house. And this is interesting because this is the reassurance to say, it's okay. Even if you don't feel it's okay to shine, and it's a bit difficult to fully express yourself, you also hold a counter belief about yourself. And that is, even though I might feel it's not okay for me to develop what I'm passionate about, or like it's not okay to be happy, it's not okay to be joyful, you're really ready to let that belief go. So anywhere where you've taken up that belief system of a good life is one that has lots of hard work in, or it's good to suffer, or it's somehow unholy to live in joy all the time. You know, that kind of I always think of it as children should be seen and not heard kind of thing, because of course kids should be seen. That's why they're so damn cute and so noisy. You know, they're meant to be seen and we're meant to learn from them, I believe. But anywhere where we've kind of tightened ourselves up into that little dark space to make us a bit more palatable for everyone else around us, I think, you know, this beautiful aspect between Venus and Chiron is there to bring about a feeling of healing. It's a time of compassion for yourself, forgiveness, where you can forgive yourself for making the mistake of hiding yourself. This is about self-soothing, and it's opening up the heart. It's a beautiful heart opener. So I love that. And then the next big movement that I really notice, and that would be on the day of the new moon in Sagittarius. So it's on the 20th, that's Saturday the 20th. On that day, Lilith also comes into the sign of Sagittarius, and Lilith, she is about to unleash herself as she comes into your sign. You know, she is the epitome of where people have had to, where she has felt that she's had to hide herself. So her coming into the first house is really about this previously silent part of yourself that's been resenting not being able to speak up and flow and glow and release and radiate. She's coming in. So you'll most likely feel a lot of energy around that. But anyway, there's this new moon in the first house. New moons in the angular houses, the first, the fourth, the 7th and the 10th, they're always really important, but when it's in your first house, it's the most important one of the year, I would say. So this is very, very special to have this new moon right here. And so this is like relaunching yourself. This is a beautiful moment of relaunch. And the more you can connect it to the idea of the center of the galaxy, the center of everything, or, you know, the connection to God, or your connection to energy or source, the more you can sort of tune into that mythical visionary energy, the more relief you're going to get from it. I really truly believe that. And straight after that, the moon's going into Capricorn, which I think is going to be great, because the moon's going to carry all of that energy with it into Capricorn to really sort of ground that in. And then we've got these squares. So if I just move my chart along, you'll see it a bit better. By this point, Mercury is exactly in a T-square with the South Node and the North Node. Now, the South Node, it's really showing actually that you've got very good at talking about your business, your reasons for doing X, Y, Z. You're very good at articulating what's been going on. However, what you haven't got so good at is talking about yourself and what you're about in terms of your family. So this, you know, like when we go back to this earlier question of maybe why have you shut yourself down, or why isn't it okay for you to blossom in your family? Like why have you hidden yourself a little bit? This is a really big thing that you're learning. And so again, I think that contrast between you being freely expressed and also at the same time being shut down or feeling shut down at home is a huge thing. And so again, you'll feel that challenge. You know, I think this is something that's kind of going on as a bit of a theme throughout actually the whole of December, but it's really coming to a head right now. Then we've got the sun in an exact square to Neptune, which is interesting as well, because the sun's about to change signs. You know, this is almost like the last moment of expressing, you know, like concentrating on your self-expression and concentrating on your personality. When the sun is in the first house, it's your time to really focus on who you are and what you're putting out there, how people are experiencing you. And so it's very much identity driven. And in the square, the sun in a square to Neptune, it's really, especially with Neptune in the fourth house, again, there's this feeling of my identity feels a little bit squashed because of unconscious impulses and belief systems that have originated from my home. Now, you might not be able to put your finger on it, but there's the sensation of it. Neptune really fudges over the exact energy. It's really difficult to kind of put your finger into the Neptunian ocean of psychic energy and find the exact needle in the haystack. It's really hard. So you might also have this sensation of kind of losing sense of who you are. Also, you've got Venus in a square to Saturn. And so it might feel very difficult to express yourself as a loving individual or to relate to other people because of what's happened at home. And then finally, Jupiter in a square to Chiron. Interestingly, Jupiter's in your eighth house. The eighth house is the house where all kinds of ancestral trauma and ancestral business come up. It's also a place of other people's value systems and other people's money that you might share. So shared resources, like your partner's income and yours that's running your home, or inheritance that you might share with a sibling. All of this is eighth house business. And so this is a place of a lot of judgment. And so Jupiter has been in here kind of waving his big expansion wand, really bringing up everything to do with the shared resources and the shared judgments that you maybe feel under the expectation of. And Jupiter's in a square with Chiron. Now, he's been in a square with Chiron for a couple of months now, and this square with Chiron is going to go on for quite a bit longer, but it's coming to a head. And again, I refer you to that feeling of, I want to do the things that feel good, but it doesn't feel like I'm meant to enjoy myself. Like maybe life is better lived if you're not enjoying it. That like sort of puritanical view that we're not here to enjoy ourselves, we're here to work hard. And so again, you might be under the belief system of your ancestors who maybe did have to work hard. So I think all of these beliefs and how they fitted together in your psyche are absolutely coming to a head. And of course, then the sun goes into the sign of Capricorn, and we're bursting into a new season, one that is going to be starting from a very practical, dedicated, ambitious, and also cautious place. Like, you don't have to do it all in one day, but this is a new season that's starting, and it's starting from understanding just how far you go in maybe putting yourself down or not giving yourself a break. I think this coming season is about setting yourself free so that you can feel divine, that you can absolutely learn to love yourself, maybe in a way that your grandma might have loved you, just seeing you through a different perspective. This is a time of great healing. And I really think this new moon in Sagittarius, followed by the sun going into Capricorn, is really starting it. I mean, Sagittarius, this has been your time, and this is absolutely your new moon. So I hope this has been helpful to understand what's at stake and how this energy can be used to really kind of reset where you're going. So I hope it resonates. If you like the way I look at astrology and you would love to know a little bit more, then I've got a community. I started it earlier this year. And, in many respects, when you start something new, it might take 6 months to get into the swing of things, and the vision might change a little bit, and then it settles into its unique pattern. Well, I've come to the decision that I'm just going to release all my extra forecasts for free. So I started off, I think I do 29 forecasts every single week that go just into this community and not here on this YouTube channel. So if you want any of these additional forecasts, and they're Monday to Friday forecasts, then there's relationship and connection forecasts for each sign of the zodiac. Also, there's a career, ambition, and money forecast for each sign of the zodiac. If you want access to this, all you have to do is join the community for free. You can scan this QR code above, and that will give you access to it. If you do it on your phone, it'll also help you download the school platform. So it's a really handy little app. So you could just have my forecasts there for when you need them. But if you are wanting to learn astrology, so you sort of work with me over the course of the next year, then I'm actually going to start teaching from January the 6th, 2 lessons a week with a couple of little breaks. There's 3 terms and also a summer school. If any of that sounds like it's for you, then just go to www.school.com, that's SKOOL.com/Feel Good Astrology. So wishing you a beautiful week of unraveling and moving forwards with greater resolve. Have a great one and hopefully catch up with you all soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.